Hey everybody, it's Margie Burkett. I'm here at Douglas Elliman in Locust Valley, and today we're going to be talking about appraisals with Patrick McAvoy, who's with Choice Appraisal Network. Patrick, what are some of the common misconceptions people have about appraisals?
Probably the first one is that there's different appraised values for banks, for a refinance, for a purchase, and either for a divorce or an estate. But an appraisal is an appraisal. It's the same value, whatever you're appraising
Whatever
for.
the purpose.
Correct.
And what are some of the things that add value to a house?
The number of bathrooms, updated kitchens, lot sizes, garages, pools, amenities.
So pools add value.
Pools add value, especially since COVID, since a lot of the beaches, families want their children closer to home nowadays than they did before. So we have seen a big wait for pools.
Oh, wow.
In new construction, especially.
So here's my favorite question that often comes up at open houses. If a bedroom does not have a closet, is it still a bedroom?
Okay. When I do the appraisal, I look at a room. If it has large enough square footage and you can put a armoire or dresser in that room to compensate for the closet, I call it a bedroom.
But it has to have a window and a door, its own
Egress.
door.
Right, it has to have its own door, and it has to have a egress window that's big enough for a firefighter to fit through with a pack on his back.
And it can't be a door to another bedroom.
It should not be. Depending on some in Queens or the Bronx, that the railroad layouts, that's the only thing they have, and that you have to call it a bedroom.
Let's talk about basements. A bathroom in a basement. Does
Okay.
that count?
It does not count in a room count ever. However, on my appraisal, I will give it value because it's another useful bathroom. It's not the same value as it would be if it was above grade.
Okay. And what are some really bad things that really hurt an appraisal?
An external obsolescence, which is a negative location. You could be in views of a commercial property, you could be on a busy road, you could be located across from a large school, anywhere where you're not in a quiet neighborhood setting. That's an external. Deferred maintenance, a two-bedroom house. A two-bedroom house is what we call a functionally obsolescent house. A typical home buyer in a regular neighborhood, not a summer vacation area or something like that, will not buy a two-bedroom house. Therefore, it does hurt the value of the house.
Mm-hmm. And how often do homes not appraise?
Lately, it hasn't been too bad. It's 3% in my opinion. During COVID, that number was much higher. People were just overbidding. I called it panic buying because they just wanted out of, whether they were in Brooklyn or Manhattan, they wanted out. They wanted to be in a larger area with less people, and they just overpaid. And a lot of properties did not come into the sale prices.
And how often, when something doesn't appraise, are you willing to change it?
Good question. That would be a reconsideration of value. So there's a form that the agent or the home buyer or our homeowner, if it was a refi, would have to fill out and go through their loan officer, and it would get to the appraiser. And on that form, there's 3 or more comparable sales that they want us to look at that we didn't look at, that's not in the original appraisal. And we would look at them, and if they were overlooked for some reason or or they weren't available, sometimes they didn't come through yet, I would reconsider the value. A lot of times, though, I have those comps, and if I did grid them, they come in for the sale price or that my appraised value or even lower, because the negative adjustments, because they're higher. They might have sold $40,000-$50,000 higher than I came in at, but they're in better condition. They have another kitchen, they have another garage, or they have a finished basement, or they have central air conditioning. So that's all negative adjustments.
And because you're doing this for a bank, it's a very precise way of doing things. It's not terribly subjective. I mean, there are rules and ways you go about it.
There's a lot of rules and regulations for bank work. We cannot, everything on our grid has to be bracketed. So we cannot have the largest gross living area of any comparable on that we're comparing it to. We cannot have the smallest. We cannot have the largest lot size. They want us to bracket the room counts. They want us to bracket the bathrooms. They want us to bracket the garages. So we can't be over or under what the comparable sales we have. So it makes it extremely difficult sometimes.
Right. And if you don't do it the way they want it, they're going to come to you and say you've got to justify, right?
Correct. We call them addendum requests. So we have to go back and revisit our appraisal and correct or satisfy their criteria.
Okay.
And that's sometimes very difficult, but we have to try to do whatever we can because they are the underwriters. They're signing off on the appraisal as well.
Right. That's the whole point.
Correct.
That they need to make sure this house is worth what their buyer is paying
Correct.
because they're going to be on the hook.
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Well, I hope this was helpful. I certainly learned something. So be sure and call Patrick if you need an appraisal. Patrick McAvoy with Choice Appraisal Network.